Welcome! I'm Jelelle Awen, and this is day 1 of my 33 days of metamorphosis and transformation and whatever else arises during this time. And we're starting today, January 1st, 2018, and going until February 2nd, 2018. So maybe you're joining me as we're going along here on the day that it's actually filmed, or you're watching it later, and that's okay because the energy signature will still be there for you. I guess I would start with Happy New Year, and maybe not happy, and that's okay too. Maybe, I think New Year's Eve and New Year's is a time that pushes up some interesting things. And not necessarily all joy and all bliss and all peace and goodness. There's also a nostalgic or retrospective energy, right? Where you just naturally think about 2017 and what happened during that year. And maybe your heart and your emotional body is feeling some difficulties that you had during the year, or challenges. If you're on an awakening path, you have challenges. It's kind of what you signed up for here, that others have not. And especially if you're waking up ahead of the curve, then you have the challenge often, and I've written about this a lot, of being on a different path than probably most of your family, and maybe a lot of your friends too, and maybe even a mate that you're with. So 2017 may have been a year for you in which you realize this, that you're kind of in your own place now, in your own space, and the soul is coming in, the soul frequencies are coming in, and what used to work for parts of you related to these relationships isn't working anymore. It's one of the ways I talk about it is it's just run out of ground, and it's just run out of gas and fuel. And this can be, I think, and what I've experienced in working with people and my own process, one of the hardest aspects of Ascension and awakening is relationship grounds changing. So I will be talking about that, feeling through that a lot in this series, because I feel like navigating that ground is a big mirror toward what's going on inside of you. So the external, how we relate with family, friends, mates, it's all a mirror for parts of us inside and how they're relating to other parts of us. So that's another thing that I'm going to be talking about a lot. It's a pretty much core of what I teach and offer through SoulFullHeart as a way of life, and also a community, and also a healing process. Parts are energies, you could say. They're subpersonalities. They're basically formed because they had to form. 3D reality just required this fragmentation. And it's not a dissociative piece. It's not a pathology, in my sense of it. In the way I felt it, and I've been working with, connecting with parts of myself for almost 15 years now, and it hasn't schismed my personality. I'm not all about evening all over the town, or I don't have multiple personalities and no fluidity in my consciousness. And in fact, acknowledging these different parts of myself has actually created an integration and a unification and a wholeness. So going back to relationships, because I hope I can be linear. I don't know if I can. But the whole sense I had in waking up this morning was that maybe many people would be feeling a bit of a hangover today. And that's not necessarily about alcohol. Maybe it is for you. But it's also about the energies you took in, and the people that you were with, and the environment that you were in, and how parts of you reacted to those energies and digested them. And so maybe, let's just say as a scenario, you went over to spend some time with friends that you don't see very much anymore, who aren't necessarily awakening or resonant with you, but part of you felt like it would be quite depressing to be alone on New Year's Eve. So you go to these friends, and you spend the evening with them, and maybe there is alcohol and you don't normally drink. Maybe there's loud music and you don't normally listen to that kind of music. Maybe it was a busy setting and you're normally more introverted. I'm kind of naming what I feel is the type of the awakening person in general. I'm being general. But so you're taking in all of these energies, parts of you that you don't normally resonate with. And maybe you're not telling the truth about that, or not setting boundaries quite yet, or parts of you aren't ready to do that yet. And you wake up in the morning on New Year's Day and you feel sluggish. Maybe you even have some physical manifestations of it. I can tell for me when I've been in lower frequencies, I get neck tension is one of the, also lower vibrational frequency energies can create that for me too. But it's just something of a hangover about it. And I would say too, with the holiday season in general, especially Christmas, there can be this tug collectively to go back into spaces and places and ways that you don't normally. And what I'm offering is that this is actually a 3D self, a 3D part of you that is doing this. And this, I'm using the holidays as an example and the New Year's Eve celebrations because that's where we are today. But this plays out in all kinds of ways. And these parts, if I could give my intention for this series, it's to really have you start feeling and identifying these different energies for yourself. And I do believe in doing that you will get a lot of benefit. One of the hardest things, I can't really even imagine it anymore, it's been so long, but one of the hardest things when I'm working with people is when they say I. And they're talking about deep feeling, or they're talking about mixed feelings, or they're talking about triggers or reactions, and they say I. And I just think that's so challenging. I felt depressed last night and I felt joyous. Well, okay. But what if part of you felt depressed and then another part of you felt joyous? What if your inner teenager felt joyous and your inner protector felt depressed? What data does that give you? What information do you get from that? Well, one of the pieces is that it separates you from the feeling. And that's not necessarily the case for all feeling, but definitely things that bring up lots of charge, emotional charge, and reactivity. That we can pretty much guarantee is a part of you. And in feeling it that way, you have all of this new objectivity around it, and also opportunity to negotiate with that energy. So let's just play with the friend scenario again. You wake up this morning and there's a part of you that's hurt. Maybe you're and I've seen this with people I work with. Maybe you were made fun of. almost the whole night. You were, everyone made fun of, oh, they love their conspiracy theories and they've been talking to angels lately and they believe in energies, that energy, which is really 3D parts in them that are afraid of the unknown. So you have some spaciousness in you, of course, and a soul self that can say, oh, they just don't know and they're in fear. But then you have parts that get hurt by this, and maybe even feel shame about what you feel and what you're drawn to. And then you have maybe another part, what we call an inner punisher, that's agreeing with these friends and family. You are crazy, you're weird, you don't belong. So you would not have the external reflection of that kind of judgment if you didn't have it from within you. Because you could choose not to have it in your life, right? You would only choose not to have it in your life, this external judgment source, if it had cleared in here. So clearing, in our meaning of clearing in SoulFullHeart, is about being with the parts that hold these energies, negotiating with them. Again, I'll be talking about this a lot in the series, and even offering journaling questions that you can do. The main way we connect with parts is through journaling, dialogue, visualization, and I'll be providing some of that in this series as well. A really deep connection ground happens, and differentiation ground between you and the part through individual sessions, which I'll be talking about too. So really that's the ideal way to work with these parts. But I also feel that there's something to be gained, I hope, and benefited from beginning this work on your own and starting this process. And then maybe it just takes off for you and you decide, I do want support with this. And I do want to start SoulFullHeart sessions. And that's beautiful. And we'll respond to that. But what we're starting today, I hope, is just to start to reframe some things for you about how you experience life, even how you experienced last night, New Year's Eve, and every moment. So starting to bring awareness into every moment. Which part of me is reacting right now? Which part of me is feeling this and why? And then as you do this, you create we call it a 5D self, a fifth dimensional, higher vibrational frequency self that becomes your space holding self. And that's the aspect of you that can reparent these parts. I'm going to share in the comments section, or the description actually of this video, an article for you to read that we've written about parts, so you can get more familiar with those that we work with. This is really, these are the parts that over the last 15 years, these are the tones that I have seen over and over again in myself and hundreds of others. So it feels universal to me. I can't say that, but it feels like something that is very much an aspect of living in third dimensional reality, incarnating here. And what this really offers, this differentiation I'm talking about, is the arising of more of that you-ness outside of what we call fusion to a part. So there's that. I'll leave you with that to digest. The other thing I wanted to talk about today was we spent yesterday, New Year's Eve, as a community, and right now there's me, my beloved mate Raphael, who I've been with for 9 years, married, and Gabriel and Kalena, who are a couple, and are also Soulful Heart facilitators, and my daughter with Gabriel, Brianna. So you'll be hearing a lot about all of them, and they will be showing up on this series off and on as guests. So we all were together on New Year's Eve, and mostly we were so excited about the alchemy of Soulful Heart right now and what's going on. One of the big things is the release of a new book of mine called Bliss Mess. I really recommend actually reading that along with doing this series. So we're offering it today. If you're watching this today, January 1st, we're offering it as a free PDF. So you can message me on Facebook or email us at soulfulhearts@gmail.com if you'd like to receive that. If it's past the 1st, you can purchase it as a PDF or an ebook very soon as a print edition. So I recommend that. That is my writings from the last 6 months, and also the writings I've shared publicly and on various websites, the Higher Self YouTube channel as audio blogs, but it's also a lot of my personal process with my parts. I primarily work with my soul aspects or other lifetime aspects, which we call metasoul. That's another thing I'm going to be introducing. I'm going to do a whole day on that. So we'll get into that later. But going back to, let's see, this is what I have to do. I have to talk it out loud so I'll remember. Going back to our little celebration yesterday, we were digesting the book coming out, this series. Kalena and Gabriel are also offering a series about the 7 areas of life, which I will also be talking about, and practical ascension. So we were kind of bubbling with this energy of alchemy, and eventually we circled on that, and then eventually we settled into our group Merkaba space and decided that we all wanted to, and we do this periodically. We meet as a group every month in a circle, a process circle, but we also, the last time we did this was, I believe, the solar eclipse, the total solar eclipse in August, which had very powerful energies and was really offering your highest timeline download. So we decided to name what our intentions were. Of course, it's natural on New Year's Eve to do that. So we had some digestions of 2017, and then we stated our intentions for 2018. And they were pretty consistent for all of us in wanting to continue to heal, to transform, all for ourselves, but also for service of love, to really step into service of love here, which we all feel is in the form of Soulful Heart. So that was really clear to us. Plus, we also are feeling to move to Europe, and specifically England, Glastonbury, Avalon area. Maybe in May, maybe sooner, depending on how the money alchemy flows. So I felt like we were energizing this timeline that we want in 2018 of leaving Mexico after 3 years, being in Europe, all being together, serving. Well, maybe we separate to go travel. We're very excited about that too. I really see retreats and seminars based in Europe. We already have what we call facilitants, people that we work with in weekly sessions. Some already live in Europe, so we'll be connecting with them. Maybe we'll be connecting with you if you want to come join us at some point for one of our events. So that was our intentional space yesterday. It was very much about that, and it was very energized. We did a grid maybe I'll share a picture of that. It was really beautiful. It was a heart with all of these different crystals and stones. And then I have these cutouts. I don't have one within reach of sacred geometry shapes. and some other pieces that were really beautiful. And that formed a grid over the space to sort of hold our intentions. So, the reason I'm telling you this is I really suggest or offer that you might engage with that today. We also have a supermoon today, supermoon energy tonight. I will be talking about that very specifically tomorrow. The divine feminine, integration, and channeling the supermoon energies just to see what comes through. So with this supermoon energy, there's a magnified and amplified, and then with the collective energy around resolutions and intentions, it's a wonderful time to feel from your heart what it is that you intend for the year, for 2018. And to declare, you can declare it in I am sentences if that resonates for you. You can visualize it, go on a journey and visualize it. You can make a circle of resonant soul family and all of you do it, and see if maybe a group Merkaba forms, a vision forms. I'm just feeling, I would love it if you would share with me, if you want to, some of your intentions in the comments. I'll be sharing these videos on Facebook and on our YouTube channel, so you're so welcome to comment in either place. And I would love to see that take off these 33 days, or maybe even a little community forms and beyond the 33 days as well, if that happens. So that's what I would invite you to do for today with all of this energy of intention. Maybe again with the hangover, sometimes we have to go into the old to realize the new. So maybe that hangover, energetic hangover, is saying, no more of that. I'm done with that. I'm not going to do that again. What I really want is this. Now here's the thing about intentions that I feel is more of the emotional body aspect of this. So this is not just about positive affirmations, although I believe they have a power. I think there is a soul aspect of us, our 5D self, that can hold that kind of positive affirmation energy, and that's beautiful. And making space for the parts of us that don't feel that at all, that feel unworthiness around our intentions, that feel even maybe shame around our intentions, that feel inadequate to show up, that feel resistant to risking or being outed, whatever that looks like. So if you could just hold space for that too, that okay, you might have this burst of positive affirmation going on. I am infinite love, and in 2018 I am serving infinite love, you know. Ooh, you feel it. Is there a corresponding something that happens there for a part that says, I don't feel infinite love at all? I have a hard time living in love, actually. And I don't really feel it. You could be with both. The big I am infinite love energy can be with the I don't feel it at all part. That both are true, not using the I am infinite love intention to bypass or override the other feelings that are going on in parts of you. We are multidimensional, multifaceted, multi-emotional, multi-personalities. So nothing is a simple I am. Even the I am is not simple. So we may get to an I am, a unification, a wholeness around it, but I feel that we've got to get to the what isn't the I am. And maybe you feel similar, or you probably wouldn't be watching this. So, feeling the intentions, and what comes up, what gets pushed up. That's actually almost more interesting to me. I'll give you an example, a personal example. I didn't even know I was doing this video series in a conscious way until about 3 days ago. And I also was releasing my book today. And I could feel, for part of me, although I had so much energy and joy about that on the I am level, there was part of me that it was like, sheesh, some edges came up, some frustrations around mostly technology. And every once in a while, a little with Raphael and I, the kind that we don't really ever engage in, just a little frustration. And what I could feel it as is part of me, it's like what I recognize as birthing. It's me stepping out into my next places. There's a part that's like, for 33 days, Jelelle, we're gonna do this for, like, what about when we have cramps? Which will happen. What about when we don't feel good? What about when we're sad? Do people expect us to just be always up and bubbly and on? And, well, no. I don't expect that of myself. I don't expect that of my parts. And I haven't been riding that way, if you've been following me for a while. I mostly have a sense, pretty high frequency and sense of goodness and centeredness that comes from many years, though, of being with parts of me that didn't have that. And there's still tinges and fringes and certainly bleed-throughs of other lifetime energies, too. So here's what I do when I have a mood, is I feel it through. It's instantly fascinating to me, and I want to know. Not know, as in hear, but I want to feel what's going on. So I feel from this, oh, there's an inner teenager that's a little edgy about these changes I'm making and this stepping out I'm doing. Oh, and in my soul, my meta soul, as I call it, I've been persecuted. I know this one. I felt this one in many ways. And so every time I step out, there's still this little bit of, is it okay? Is it safe? Can I really do this? So feeling both of these energies in myself allows me to breathe around it. That's probably some of what I'm going to do today, and responding and serving, but also for me, going in and feeling the intentions that we set last night and how they're landing in me, getting support from Divine Mother around them, and especially with the supermoon energies. So I can't share if I don't have an overflow inside. And that's also what I'll be sharing about in these 33 days, is how that overflow happens for me by going within. And what my going within process is. In my book, Bliss Mess, I've done that as well, where I share with you my process. So this is almost 30 minutes, which is amazing. And it's just flying by. Thank you for taking this in. And I hope you join me tomorrow. Our focus will be the supermoon. It's going to have a lot of beautiful frequencies to offer, I believe, including illumination. And again, I so welcome your comments, anything you want to share about. I will respond to every one of them, and it will go into my heart deeply. So thank you so much for joining me, and love to you. Bye.